Before I start, I'll lead us in prayer, so will you please bow your heads with me. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to meet here today and experience your unconditional love and presence. Fill this room with your spirit and let these words touch even one person here today. Lord, please let this plant a seed within us all today so that it may grow this weekend and flourish in our lives today. In your name we pray, amen. Okay, so I'm here to talk to you today about how life is good, very good. Genesis 1:31 says that God saw everything that he had made, and indeed, it was very good. So let's be honest for a second. I know this may seem like a very cliche saying you've heard from your parents and teachers, and even in church growing up, but it is so easy to lose sight of, especially people. And to set the record straight from the beginning, I am no expert on making my life or anyone else's life amazing all the time, but it is something that I've been learning to do over these past years. I live a very busy life, like many of you do as well. I'm the dance captain for the network show choir. I play basketball for high school. I'm the vice president for FCA. I'm a Patriot Pride ambassador. And alongside this, I'm the oldest of 4 brothers, which is quite a lot by itself. And I am constantly in church. I'm sorry for going on a tangent about my resume, but I've just gotten so used to making colleges believe they should let me in and give me a lot of money. But I say all of this to relate to many of you. Lives filled with schedules and speeding through each second of the day just to stay afloat. And on top of this, we still have to make time for friends, family, school, work, and unexpected things that happen in our life. It's a lot. And we're just expected to make it all work somehow. All of these things seem so important while we're living in the moment. But is it really what we're supposed to be prioritizing? I've battled with this question throughout the last 4 years, and at point, I chose to let it consume myself. I told myself I needed to do all of these impossible tasks just to get by. These accomplishments became my self-worth and validation, and to be honest, God wasn't really in the picture. So let's go back in time a little bit. Flashback to the end of my sophomore year. I was just starting to drive a car, I had a great group of friends, a family that loved me so much. I just felt like I was awesome, and I still went to church almost every Sunday, yet something just kind of started to feel off. This feeling followed me into that summer and really reached a tipping point around Christmas my junior year. This feeling slowly developed before my eyes, starting off as just getting nervous to talk to people and go to school, and soon transformed into this anxiety and depression that consumed every single thought and action I did. I remember waking up every morning just dreading to get out of bed. Dreading to have to put on a smile so people wouldn't ask me what was wrong. I was so unstable, and the smallest thing would just validate this feeling of why am I here? Why am I doing this? I stopped really hanging out with my friends, or if I did hang out with them, I would end up leaving early, and I would just go sit in my car so I wouldn't be home too early so my parents would ask me what was wrong. I didn't want to talk to anyone because to me, no one understood this feeling. I felt that I had no purpose and would just ask, if life is supposed to be so good, then why is mine so pointless? Where is the joy I see everyone else experiencing? What was wrong with me? I battled these questions for so long, and still to this day, it's hard to always see the beauty in life in the face of tragedy and difficulty. Looking back in hindsight though, nothing around me has really changed from how it is now. I learned to love my life by changing the way I chose to see life. I was so caught up in this 10% of bad that I faced every day that I completely zoned out the 90% that was so amazing. I woke up already planning on my day to be miserable, and in turn it was. I was getting in the way of myself to see the true beauty and joy of life, and now I can never relive those moments or pursue those opportunities because I got in the way of myself. The crazy thing is I'm one of the greatest people in the entire world with my best friend, who I would talk to about how I didn't see life the way he did. I was just so jealous that he saw life as this beautiful thing, but I just didn't know how to make myself see it. I realized that as much as I wanted to be like him, I could never achieve this unless I decided to make this change on my own. This idea of focusing on the 10% of our day that is bad is something we all fall guilty to. I mean, just think for a moment. If you're going through your day, let's say at school, and you bomb a test, Or let's say you have a basketball game later that evening and you end up losing by 1. We all see this as being a terrible day. But what we fail to realize or choose not to remember is maybe somebody gave you a compliment today, or you got to see your friends and laugh, or you listened to that song that just fills you with so much joy. These are the things in our day that are so beautiful and the things we need to start focusing on. And trust me, it is not easy. But again, Genesis 1:31 says God saw everything he made, and indeed, it was very good. And that not only applies to the beautiful sunsets and the mountains and beaches, but it applies to me and you. Every single one of us. We were all made good indeed. So then why do we sabotage ourselves and let ourselves believe we don't matter? I wish I had the answer to this, but sadly I do not. I'm also not going to say that every single day of your life will be filled with this infinite amount of joy, because it might not always feel like that. It's not realistic to say that life will always feel good. But it is realistic to say that there will always be a source of good at any point in your life. And I really started to believe this for a while. Once spring break hit my junior year, I'd been seeing a therapist for about 3 months. I was waking up looking forward to my day. I had a genuine smile during school and around my friends. All was good. Life finally seemed good. I had just experienced the most rock bottom of my life. But now I had crawled my way out of that hole, and I saw the surface. I saw the sun shining through, and I was so close. Yet I was still missing a key factor in my life. God. These questions of self-worth and purpose were not at the forefront of my mind anymore, but rather pushed to the back along with my relationship with Christ. And this worked for a while. It gave me a break of self-doubt and paved the way for some joy that I'd been missing for a while. But instead of truly believing that God had made my life special and good, I just told myself I did. This temporary feeling of flying made the fall even that much harder than the first time. Coming back after spring break, it felt like I was walking around with an 100-pound boulder on my back with every single step. Those same feelings that hurt me so bad the first time were coming back stronger, and there really seemed no escape. I was living a life without a relationship with God, and it was starting to show again. Thankfully, I was given the opportunity for redemption. I had signed up to go to Panama earlier that year. I thought maybe it'd be good for me. A chance to spend time with friends for a week in a country I had never been to. What I didn't know at this time was that trip was so intentionally placed in my life. Without this trip, I truly did not know the person I'd be today. I went on this trip wondering God had been all of my life, but left realizing that he had been with me the entire way. I just chose to ignore him. I chose to shut him out, yet he still found a way to break down all of the walls that I put up throughout my day. That very first night in Panama, Liza Spencer, one of the absolute greatest humans you'll ever meet in your entire life, so please go meet her after this talk. Just a little shout out there. So she asked this question of where we had seen God today. I looked around so confused, thinking, what a strange question. All we did was sit in an airport, fly on a plane. How could we have seen God today? As we went around the circle, I sat in awe listening to how they had seen God, and the flight attendant calming a nervous child, or the lady that paid for their lunch because they were $1 short. The crazy thing is that I saw all of these things. I just never thought to connect them with God's love. I never realized how small God can work in our days to make them better. This realization is something I will never forget. I could not sleep that night. I was wide awake thinking about how I had never thought such small details and events to be God's work and God's proof that life truly was good. I have always thought, like some of you might too, that God only worked in these magical ways where the sky would part and a blinding light would shine down from the heavens. But in reality, he works in our lives every single day, even when we don't want him here. Throughout the week of Panama, we continued to end our night with how we saw God that day, and I carried this with me into my daily routine after Panama. As the plane landed back in Atlanta and we drove to the Birmingham airport, I was a changed person from when we had left 1 week ago. I no longer wondered if God was going to work in my life, but when and how he was going to do it. I continued to do this every night. I would focus on this 90% of my day that was so good instead of this 10% that I used to dwell on. Every night, I would think of 3 ways God worked in my life, and after about a week, it was hard to limit myself to only 3. I was beginning to choose to live in the 90% where I allowed God to be present with me instead of shutting him out in the 10%. We get in our own way of seeing the beauty of life and all that God has in store for us. And just realizing that all of our lives are good is a hard skill to accomplish. I mean, it took me hitting rock bottom twice to know that my life was worth living. And I hope that none of you will have to experience that to understand how special every single person in this room is. Your life is special because God made it that way. So I challenge you. This is the first night of discovery. And I want you to think right now, how has God already worked in your life today? Was it your parents saying, "I love you" to ease your nerves as they dropped you off? Or maybe a friend brought you here to experience the love and mercy of our God. Whatever it may be, just know that he is present and will always be actively present within our lives, even when we don't want him to be. So as we go on throughout this weekend, stop at points in your day. Take in the beauty of life. Think of ways God is calling you to spread his word in unconditional love. Because if we all start to live in that 90%, we can all start to appreciate the beauty of our lives. I, for one, have started applying this to my life, and is why I believe wholeheartedly that life is good, very good. Let's close in prayer. Dear Lord, please let this message speak to at least one person in this room. You created our lives to be good, and I pray that you'll give each of us the clarity to see our purpose. I pray that throughout this weekend, we will all realize that you are present even when we don't feel the times. In your name we pray. Amen.